Hello there. Let's close the door. I don't need any interruptions. I hate being interrupted, you know? It's really traumatizing. Yeah. Okay. And like, it's always been a thing. I haven't really been able to express my anger in my own home a lot of the times. It just gets placated. Oh, okay, stop. Just calm down. Just calm down. It's always about you. It's always about you. But it isn't. Today, so the man who, Nathaniel Veltman, 23, who hit the Afzaal family, he was a doctor, I believe, right? Let's see. In 2021. I think he was a doctor, the eldest man. So like I didn't like the propaganda that happened afterwards, and it's because, you know, someone I don't like saying it, but someone might more than likely profited off of the publishing and distribution of the material that was placed all over town, and like the slacktivism, right? That bothers me, especially when I'm out here, you know. I'm going to where the homeless people are, you know, not frequently just yet. I'm not quite prepared to do that. You know, I'm going on long walks, 20K for demonstration. I was donating blood. You know, I've donated like 23 or 24 times in my life. I paid in sweat. You know, I can run 3 kilometers in under 18 minutes. I've accomplished a lot in the last couple of years. And what this doesn't accomplish is the same gravitas as what I have. And that's a problem, is because, you know, the perpetrators of these attacks, right, a lot of time it's done out of, it's a rational motive. So it's just motivated. It was considered terrorism, yeah, motivated by white nationalist ideology at the time. And again, white nationalism is associated with 4chan and Poll. And, you know, but here's the thing, you know, you don't lump everyone into the same category, especially if you consider someone that's an intellectual or an academic, right, studying this stuff, which frequently is done. You know, 4chan is like this petri dish of humor, you know, gallows humor, to be honest with you, intelligence operatives, old fags and new fags, and then the rest of the internet, the rest of humanity, basically. So there's even more archaic or unknown. So like it's 8chan. And like, just because I use Firefox, you know, it doesn't mean that I'm surfing the dark web, but I have access, because it's a Tor browser, to a lot more unindexed websites. And you know, I have an interest in the integrity of my backyard. And you know, this posturing, this cat and mouse game that's been played, and frankly, in order to get attention, this was the exact wrong way to get attention. But when it comes to the governmental organizations and trying to get them to change their tune, then you have to do some really interesting things that would otherwise be considered crazy. You know, I don't want, you know, again, I've said this before, white supremacy is Jewish supremacy. So you look at all these, so 4chan is supposed to be the harbor of the far rights and the incels and everything like that. But incel, as you remember in another video, incel was coined by a woman, right? Femcel. It's not just men. It's just there's autistic people everywhere. So like, I don't know. I don't think I'm the only one that's able to talk about this stuff without any prejudice, but it feels like I am. Because you know, again, this has to do with the pressures of immigration and living standards. He has a manifesto, right? I published a manifesto, the fitness manifesto. So that's much more productive than something like this. Like this is like anti-hero shit. You basically ruined your own life for nothing. And that's the unfortunate part. You know, he'll learn his lesson. He'll spend his 25 years, whatever his sentence is, and then maybe he'll come out a better person. He's 23. Right? I don't know. Maybe give him the opportunity to become a doctor. So Salman Afzaal. So this is like a tit for tat sort of thing in this game with decentralized intelligence and peer pressure and the bullying and you know, the threats of actual real world destruction of a person's life. You know, it's not easy to find these splinter cells, but you know, they exist online, and usually they're right in front of your face, because you never really know, especially with the Discord channels, or say with Twitch. I don't use Twitch. I never did. I was never really interested in streaming, to be honest with you. It seems like a waste of time. That's my opinion. So I'm looking at this in like, so they were from Pakistan, right? Pakistani Muslims. Muslims don't like transgenders. They don't like gay people. So again, it was a target of opportunity from everything that I can conceive and deduce. But he targeted them, yeah. But he could have been coached in that by his lawyer to say certain things in order to get a reduced sentence. Now, I will not confirm nor deny my interest in the Canadian Nationalist Party, and I will not confirm or deny a donation to the Canadian Nationalist Party. But that doesn't make me an extremist. That means, you know, everyone has you know, has a right, has a freedom of association. But it's again when we start acting out in these violent ways, these extremist ways, that, you know, start every effort towards any kind of reconciliation or change gets just absolutely thrown down the toilet, right? Just flushed, whoosh, gone, gone. And then, you know, the game is to, of course, to get the attention of agencies and police that would otherwise be indifferent to the plights of the individual, right? And then I'm thinking about the other one, which is the 2023 Nashville shooting with the transgender. And went in and shot up a Christian school. Again, tit for tat, all these school shootings and stuff like that. It's a tangled web that's been woven. $150 rounds. Holy shit. Holy shit. You know, again, we have to recognize that people from elsewhere have nationalist motivations and ideology as well. And again, we paint everyone with the same brush, and then that becomes propaganda in itself. And it removes the opportunity to learn something from someone on the opposing side of the argument. You know, because again, there's just so much misinformation and so much confusion and so much anger and resentment. And this is how people become radicalized, is that, you know, the person that's radicalizing them, if not on their own, you're confronted with this epiphany of everything that you know versus everything that's in the foreground versus everything that's in the background. So you're stuck between these two positions. You know, you either advance through the fourth wall, right? You're the fourth wall. Or you retreat into insignificance, right? This is the dignity of mediocrity. And this is why, like, the anti-hero stuff, we used to make fun of people who would commit suicide. Because again, it doesn't accomplish anything. All it does is make people angry. And the reason why, again, the reasons why let's think about the Columbine. High school massacre. Now this, you know, it occurred in 1999, and if you remember, their parents, they worked for, what was it, Lockheed Martin, in missile defense. Yeah, creating martyrs out of some of the victims. Again, the religious extremism. I mean, I imagine that, you know, okay, these people, the Afzaals. That's it. Afzaals. Again, we're targeted because they're visibly, you know, different. And we always attack what is different. So I bet you if he didn't find this family to run over, he would have kept looking around for another target. A new society and a plan to achieve that new society. Again, what people don't seem to understand, this anarchism, this you know, the change, the revolutionary change, is that every time that it happens, a genocide happens with it. And quite frankly, I'm not interested in genocide. You know, and as I coined earlier today, around 4:30 in the morning, we've experienced a technocost, right? I would consider COVID to be a technocost. To be the technocost, not just, you know, COVID-19. Because that's the extraordinary warfare, right? Is these decentralized networks of individuals that have become radicalized because they are pushed to the brink of ignorance and psychopathy, right? If we keep pressuring people to do certain things, you know, it's this meme. It's like, oh, come on, do the thing for our entertainment, please. Go shoot up that school. Go stab that police officer. That'll be really good. Yeah. Because of live action role playing and manipulating vulnerable people. Right? There's, again, I'm going to stand up for autistic people here in this moment, and the mentally ill. You know, I look at again, I'm looking at the FBI's mental disorder theories and stuff like that. Harris was a clinical psychopath, and depression. But, you know, I've gone through these things, or temporary psychosis, and here I am. I didn't shoot anybody up. I got 2 schools right here. I ain't no fucking pedo. And it's amazing I have to say these things. But you know, this clash between cultures and this cultural mosaic, you know, that North America has been attempted to be this, you know, this multicultural utopia, either by a republic or by constitutional monarchy, and both of which end up being authoritarian anyways. So whose admiration and approval are you looking for? You know, it's that's the fog of war on the internet, is that again, some people will fund you and they'll contribute support in order to tear you down, right? How do you ruin somebody? You give them everything that they want. The Covenant School is a private Christian school in the Green Hills neighborhood in Nashville. It educates students from pre-kindergarten to the 6th grade. Again, I'm jumping from Columbine to the Nashville shooting, and then I'm trying to correlate these all together in this video. It educates students from pre-kindergarten to the 6th grade. It was founded in 2001 as a ministry of Nashville's Covenant Presbyterian Church, a congregation of the Presbyterian Church in America. Its enrollment is about 200 students. So Presbys. Protestant Reformation. So Catholics and Protestants. Calvinism. Now, I don't really have a denomination. You know, I'm a non-denominational Christian. I don't like going to churches so much. And you know, again, I as much as I did go to, I went and visited St. Peter's, and then St. Andrew's, right? And this is why I was pissed off, is because now the police were thinking that I'm some sort of extremist, but I'm not an extremist. I'm a fucking cop. Amongst everything else, all the other hats that I wear, I'm a cop. Not every cop wears a uniform. And within the church, you know, the undercover Christians, okay, we have to keep each other accountable. And often, even within the Jewish churches, the Jewish synagogues, and the Muzzies, the Islamic temples, or whatever you want to call them. Let's see. A Muslim temple. Mosques, that's right. Sorry, it just slipped my mind when I was being a little aggressive there. Because the thing is that the radical Islam is real, right? And so is, Kabbalistic Judaism. And these different connotations of spirituality clash with each other, and often it's not the misuse, but the abuse of the religious teachings in order to exert dominance over a territory. I don't mind presbys, but I grew up with Pentecostal. So Pentecost 5 is very similar to Jewish Kabbalism. But they don't really say that. Protestant. Charismatic Christian that emphasizes direct personal experience with God through baptism with the Holy Spirit. So again, it's a bit of mysticism. Evangelicals. No, in North America, there's this thing against evangelicals. Again, this correlates to the shooting, the Columbine shooting. Full gospel to describe their movement. So again, I went to LGT here in London, Full Gospel Temple. And before that, when we're still living in Barrie, we went to Highway. So, from the moment I was born until about 13 years old, I was in Sunday school. So yes, if you allow it to happen, Presbys and Pentecostals can get along very well. Same with Anglicans. Protestant Reformation. See, all the same, right? Following the English Reformation. So, again, these extremist idealisms and the motives behind them, they originate out of religious dogma. And that was fully on display in the age of terror, right? With the fatwas and all of this extremist Islam, right? But you don't paint everyone with the same brush, and you don't remove the opportunity to learn something. Because what do you accomplish when you shoot up a church, shoot up a school or something like that? Fucking nothing. Or you go to your workplace and you shoot the person that was antagonizing you. I know it's a lot easier, but it's far harder to collect information, establish a chain of evidence, and then go to the police with it, so that they have something to investigate, and that they do their fucking jobs in the middle of that. So one of the basic problems is that older people don't understand the internet. They don't understand 4chan. They don't understand Reddit. They don't understand all these splinter factions that are fighting with each other, basically like a slap fight, because they're just a bunch of nerds. They're a bunch of nerds. And the other origin of these actions is in the academic world. So what does it say in this? Beware of those Revelations 2:9. I know thy tribulation. So King James. Here we go. And I'll read the whole thing. So 2:8-10, 21st century King James Version. And unto the angel of the church in Smyrna write, these things saith the first and the last, who was dead and is alive. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them that say that they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear not of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. But thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You see? Now, the Christian, what's it? God works in mysterious ways, and that's what that thing is. In other words, when someone says that, they're talking about their connections and the people that they know. They're not talking about, well, some of them are. Some of them are actually talking about like a metaphysical, spiritual connection, because God sees all, and so on and so forth. So whose God is superior? It's fucking stupid. Whose God is superior? Insufferable. And this is how you get into the transgenderism, how it's a symbolic and real suicide cult, with the cult of Baal and of course Baphomet as the symbology. Now Baphomet is not necessarily the devil. So you just put in Google, is the devil. Versus Sabbatic. So Sabbath. So Satan takes over when God wants a vacation. Sabbath, sabbatical, holiday. In a letter about the siege of Antioch by the French crusader Anselm of Ribemont. Sequenti di ora apparanti alentis vocibus Baphomet invocarat et nos derum nostrum in cordilibus nostris depreciantis imperatum facientis in os eos demertis civatis omnis expellimus. You don't go after educated people. Often they know more of what's going on than you do. And again, there's a lot of propaganda out there, the misinformation that removes the opportunity to learn something and to deal with the suicide cults. Because these suicide cults are sacrificing themselves. Like the engineer in I'm trying to remember it. I'm forgetting the name right now. The movie. Oh goodness. Prometheus. Now Prometheus definition is one of the Titans, the supreme trickster and a god of fire. In common belief, he is developed into a master craftsman, and in this connection, he was associated with fire in the creation of mortals. His intellectual side was emphasized by the apparent meaning in his name, forethinker. Now, if I were to pump up my own tires, that makes me Prometheus. So what's the end of all this, right? What's the end to the means? The more you know, the less you know. And the more we judge people, the more we fail. And the more that we don't listen and we don't serve other people, we fail. And again, the correlation and the proximity of the suicide cult to pedophilia, and then ancient ideas of pedagogy and passing on legacy and so forth through violent means, and then trauma bonding and all these means of exploitation in order to enslave humanity and create this dominance hierarchy of religions, when in fact the only way to achieve peace is to coexist. To steal from a bumper sticker of a veteran that lives in the same complex. Why is that so hard? But, we're not intelligent enough to understand that. And, again, we're all territorial, but there is infiltrators, just like there's, watchdogs in every single church. And this extraordinary warfare, this tit for tat stuff, in which someone from an opposing ideology will join a church and then cause drama and break up the church, thinking that they're doing something good, but all they're doing is destroying a community and atomizing any of their possible connections, and then they don't understand that until after the fact. Until the dust settles and the walls of Jericho had fallen. So again, I'm not a white nationalist, right? I don't believe in racial superiority. Pure and simple truth. What I want is for everyone to have their own space, right? This is why we have borders. This is why we have countries. Is because if we don't, the anarchists and the accelerationists will just continue to break everything up into these collectives and these. Well, the example I would probably use would be like the Waco shooting, right? Waco siege. The Branch Davidians. So, you know, again, okay, so then also that happened around the same time as the Oklahoma City bombing, right? Well, 1995, 3 years later, 2 years later. So Timothy McVeigh, infamous. And I've had people, you know, look at me and like, oh, this guy, he's just like that, you know, he's gonna become, yeah, you know, a mass shooter or something like that. You know, we don't want to give him weapons, or we don't want him to kill himself. But you know what? I'm surrounded by poisonous and deadly things. You know, I could just as easily kill someone with a kettlebell as I could with my own hands, right? If I can punch concrete and not break my hand, I can give someone a concussion with a single punch. And Mike Tyson, I bet you he'll say the same thing. If you can punch concrete and not break your wrist, you're a champion. See, this is the problem, and as I said before, you know, again, I'll use the example in my life that people don't know and understand the difference between someone who's psychopathic or borderline and someone that is autistic or neurodivergent, because they have so many overlapping symptoms that the only way to really understand them is to get to know them. How hard could it be? But when you get to know someone, that means you have to confront your own issues, right? You have to negotiate with the person. You have to live with them. You can't just get rid of them because you don't like them anymore, like yesterday, like an old toy, right? Again, a lot of these responses are because of the culture and because of the behavior of women after the fact. Because, you know, origins of feminism. In that, like, second wave feminism had a lot of funding from Jewish communities. Okay, recap. No, I don't condone the attack, you know, the vehicular manslaughter, quite frankly. I don't condone any kind of extremist acts. To have demonstrations, you know, nonviolent actions, sure, no problem, right? Commit an act of trespassing and mock the police, perfect. And this is this is the Spider-Man thing, right? You have people within these organizations that are trying to, just like the cops and gangsters, you're trying to keep the peace, right? So, you know, you have to deliver on those Eastern promises. Because in the end, money don't mean shit. Money does not mean shit. And when we place the spiritual before the corporal, that's a bad combination. And, you know, again, some of the motivations they don't talk about. They don't talk about them. They don't talk about the cultural or religious revenge, acts of revenge. It's as if in exercising a vigilante justice. But again, when we continue to erode the society that we've created by these different means of the technocost, in order to establish a new world order of dominance hierarchy within the worlds, you know, it's delusional. It's delusional because the next system thereafter has to deal with the fallout of the nuke that you dropped on the culture. Everybody thinks that they know the answer, but the answer is just to leave people alone. Just leave them alone. They'll figure it out sooner or later. But that lesson doesn't happen to some people until the day of their death. You know, the 15 minutes after they start bleeding out. So yeah, do unto others as they do unto you. And don't ever piss off an INTP. Focus, you fuck.